What we do here is go back.
You never know, that might be working. Hopefully it is. Something's gone awfully wrong on that screen. Oh well. Good evening, it's Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. It is the, I don't even know what day it is, the 6th of January 2024. Yes, I got it right. And hopefully it is, everything is working. You can see me, it's clear, crisp and barely audible. Sorry. As soon as I started to sit down, get ready for the stream, Poppy came straight up, ready for her debut. Bless her heart. So tonight on the live stream, very excited about CES and the pre-CES announcements that will be happening very shortly. Less than, well, I'm not too sure how many hours. Basically, we've got a day. And then it's all going to kick off. And it's going to kick off. It really is. I am genuinely excited to see how things transpire in the next few days. I think for a lot of people, especially if you are a tech enthusiast like myself, you're going to be really, really happy. Now, we've all seen, or maybe you haven't, but we'll discuss them anyway. Maybe you've seen the leaks which have been suggested already. There's been numerous leaks. And people that I guess are under NDA have disclosed information. Now, for full transparency, Mike's Unboxing is under NDA with NVIDIA. So I cannot confirm, deny or anything. All I can do is discuss and speculate on pre-existing rumours which are out there. And that is about all I can say. Now, they have promised us a review sample, strangely. I'm not sure why. Maybe our name got put on the list by mistake. But potentially there will be a review sample of a potentially upcoming video card in the near future. Now, pretty much everything will be completely obvious and transparent in a day or so's time. But until then, me personally, and in terms of media-wise, there's not a great deal I can say.
Not me.
But what I can say is, going by the rumours that we're already seeing and things that have been leaked, it's looking good. It's looking particularly good. And if you're an unfortunate person who has already bought a 4000 series graphics card from NVIDIA in the last 30 days or so, I hope you kept your receipt. I think that is going to be definitely something which a lot of people are going to be considering, if we are to believe these leaks which have been out. Now, I have put in the description, and also I think I posted it in the chat as well, that there was a link to the WCCF Tech channel or website, where they've basically gone through the leaks, which seem to be the most kind of popular, or the kind of the ones that a lot of the other media outlets are reporting on, with various prices and product names and all that kind of stuff. Again, obviously, I'm not going to tell you whether this is correct or whether it's incorrect, but it seems very popular. There's been lots of leaks out there, so take out of this whatever you will. Regardless if the specification for the potential new products is good, bad, indifferent, or whatever, if we look solely at the leaked pricing, it's pretty exciting times. Even if the products are the same products, it would still be pretty exciting times. So hopefully that makes some sense. To some of you who already kind of know roughly what's going on in the background, then you'll understand what I'm saying. But it's looking like very interesting times, and I would think unless AMD do something pretty spectacular, it's going to be game, set and match NVIDIA, which I don't actually like saying as a rule, because they haven't always been the fairest when it comes to launches, pricing, all that kind of stuff. But they are the market leaders by a huge margin. So I guess like any company, they're in a position of power and they do kind of exert that, which we may not like it, but they're still in that position. They still have a huge market dominance and a massive price cap in terms of the company's value. So clearly, regardless of how we think or what we think of their business practices in general, they are still effectively number one. So there is that to it. I will always have a soft spot in my heart for AMD, as being someone who was around in the early days of computing, kind of 80s, 90s, 2000s, when there was a lot of to and fro in, and Intel were kind of dominating the field, and then AMD came back, and they come back pretty hard. The AMD K5 and K6 processors with 3D now were basically unstoppable at the time for their price and performance. Then we had a lot of market domination in the Core 2 and Core 2 Duo and Core 2 Quad era. AMD were very much on the sideline again, and it's been kind of a tennis match ever since, with one, I wouldn't say dominating, but one being preferable than the other for a certain amount of generations. I would like for AMD to come out of the park absolutely swinging and do something really good, but I feel in terms of their actual technology and basically the amount of money they have to invest in the R&D, and I think it's fair to say arguably the people actually in key positions in AMD have been a problem for a long time. It seems the chips and chipset division has pretty much found its feet and is doing pretty good things, but the prior ATI into Radeon group has struggled, I think, in quite a few ways, and there's been quite a few kind of not really catastrophic, but there's been some pretty big fails, I think, across the board there. In arguably the last 10 years, there's been the odd standout product which has been pretty good and has been very preferable, but they've never really done what they've set out to achieve in terms of when we watch CES or we watch any of the AMD kind of live reveals with Lisa Su and whoever the head honcho is of the GPU mark. Ugly Bob's going to love that. Lisa Su, that's it, set him off. They've always come out and said, oh yeah, we're going to have 2x times the performance, and this is going to be a 3090 beater and all this kind of stuff, and it just ends up being a damp squib, which is really unfortunate. But not to take anything away, they have got some good stuff, and in the budget range at the moment, really it is kind of dominated by AMD. It's just a shame that mid-range and the top end always has to play second fiddle to NVIDIA for the majority of people. Bizarrely, around about 80% of people are choosing NVIDIA over AMD in terms of their discrete graphics cards, which is kind of mad if you think about it. But anyway, there you go. Hello to everybody. Hopefully you're all doing well and surviving past the New Year and Christmas and got all that out of your system by now. I think yesterday or today was the 12th day, so time to take down all your decorations. So we didn't put any up, so we didn't have any to take down. Although, oh no, it's all right, I took the card down. I've just basically hidden it behind until next year, where it'll be put there.
And it has been every year since.
We've got kittens. Decorations and kittens don't mix. You can appreciate that. Let's go back up. We did have some super chats earlier on in the stream, so I'll quickly acknowledge those and thank you very much. There was a £10 super chat from O'Reilly. It says, New Year disco, disco, disco. Thank you very much, O'Reilly. Much appreciated.
Wait a minute, mate, so I've got to do this.
Cass got to do the disco. There will be some slightly flashing lights on the screen, but hopefully they won't be too distracting. No more distracting than Maze's butt in the shots.
With her mics and box and blue collar.
So thank you very much to O'Reilly. There was another one from Ugly Bob. £10 there as well also. It says, towards some yellow sticker cheese for that bad boy. Now, if you don't understand what that is, previously on a case with a kind of grill front, I got a block of cheese from the fridge and tried to grate it. And that was the competition to see which case grated the cheese the best. So, unfortunately, this one will not be seeing any cheese. I think it's far too nice for that. There's also a £10 super chat from Mick Woods there. It says, hi everyone, looking forward to relaxing with some cool bottles of Angelo Poretti Italian lager while watching the stream tonight. Oh god, I've clicked on the wrong thing. I'll read it off there. That's the cheaper option at Sainsbury's this week. £12 for 12 bottles. Can't go wrong for that, can you? That's awesome. Was there another? I don't think there was, no. But yeah, good to see you all in the chat. Like I said, hopefully you're all fed, watered, and festively plump. I know for a fact I am. Oh dear, it's going to be at least summer until I can even see below my waist, I think. So hello to Jason Woods, Welly Bob, Sky Stalker, Stuart Cleary, Dutch Jan, Shearer69, Mark Knight. So this is Mike Cornish. Nope, but I do smell like a pasty. I don't, I'm joking. Very clean. No, I am a Bristolian, which is kind of close-ish. Pete Unwins in the chat says hello, Mike Cath and all the chat. How you doing, Pete? Mark Barry, did I say Mark Barry? Sky Stalker, Stuart Cleary, Ugly Bob. William Bodie. Toad's in the house as well, or Toggy. Togue.
I think.
Just put an E before the GE, and then I'll say Togy. Togue. I'll get it then.
You wouldn't.
Togue says, I saw an ITX and ran straight in here, Mike. Togue likes his ITX. ITX is one of those love it or hate it type things, I think. There's a lot of people that dislike it, but there's also a lot of people that do love it as well. And I'm in the kind of... I'm on the fence. I like the form factor in general. I think it serves a fantastic purpose. But I think that ITX... Let me know if you agree, actually, in the chat. Would you say that the ITX PC really, at its best, is for a secondary computer? So you kind of got your main desktop with all your stuff inside it, your hot running stuff, your huge graphics cards and all that kind of stuff. But then it's nice to have a separate little ITX PC which is running much more modest hardware and just can be used for a very casual gaming stroke work PC for doing your spreadsheets, your emails, research, watching YouTube content, that kind of stuff. So you can have the best of both worlds. You can have like your super powerful PC for gaming and all that really hardcore stuff that we do on computers, then have another smaller box which you can just use for just chilling out and saving money on your electricity bill. And obviously noise as well, that comes into it also. So let me know what you think. Glenn's in the house as well. How you doing, Glenn?
Can you sit back on me?
Jason Woods, make sure I haven't missed anybody here. Antonio, how you doing? Old Man Withers. James Miscellaneous, how you doing, James?
Come in.
That's Jan. Gary S. I'm impressed. Started on time and NVIDIA review. Yeah. I must say, when it comes to reviewing graphics cards, I don't enjoy doing it. I'll be honest with you. It's one of those things which I hate doing, and I actually hate watching as well. I don't like watching graphics card reviews, and I don't like watching processor reviews either, really, because the whole I've gone over this before many times, but I'll refresh those that don't know or haven't been here previously. I feel that benchmarking is a really hard thing to do, because generally it's not going to give you the kind of the real world experience. Yes, if you've got a like-for-like comparison with operating system and all that stuff, which is exactly the same, then yes, it's quite a a good thing to be able to do, and you can see specific differences. But the reality of it is, Maisie, get out of the way. The reality of it is, most people, if you're maybe thinking of purchasing a graphics card or a processor, it's reasonably unlikely you're going to be doing it on day one when it's actually released. So when you see all these day one videos and reviews come out, you can see what the rough performance is like against other similar cards or whatever. But normally you kind of end up buying it a few months or weeks or years later possibly, at which time there's maybe been a BIOS update to your motherboard, Windows has become more and more bloated, you've added more hardware, you've got another AI thing running in the background, and all of that takes away resources, so you're generally not going to get the exact same performance. And we see it all the time in the Discord, where people will go out and buy something, they'll do a benchmark on it, and they'll see that the benchmark results are lower than what they're expecting to see. And then they start overclocking and tweaking and tinkering to try and get the results they've seen previously. And it's a hard thing to do. Yes, Kath, is this relevant to what the train of thought is?
It's gone, man.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
There was a question, but it's gone.
Okay. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I don't like doing benchmarks. I don't feel they offer a huge amount of value for the amount of time and effort that goes into them. I'm more of a person where I'll look at approximate performance, but I will put that more alongside availability, reliability, noise levels, pricing, and basically if it makes sense. Does it make sense to actually buy this product? That's where I come at it from, which is probably different from other people, which is probably why we don't generally get them sent. Anyway, there you go. All my brothers, we've said that. Let's see if we can catch up. Aletta's in with us as well. Hi, Aletta. Moto Rhythms says, cool cat. Got 6 of the bloody things. SC's with us in a weird accent. Are you super excited by the supers? I am, actually. I am excited. I'll probably say something I shouldn't in the stream. I'll get told off. Yes, Kath.
Jason Woods, what card would be best for playing Hogwarts Legacy at 1080p?
What card would be best? Hogwarts Legacy. I think Hogwarts Legacy, I must admit I've not played it myself and I've not paid a great deal of attention. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. I would think, this is purely for thinking, I would think that an NVIDIA card might have the upper hand for the ray tracing side of it. But if you're not having ray tracing turned on, the AMD cards will likely have more rasterization for a similar price point. But it depends really like which card is best. The best card for it is going to be the RTX 4090, most likely, because it's the best card you can buy. It's more about what your budget is or what you're looking at spending, and whether or not you're going to be playing it on low, medium, ultra, whatever, and with the ray tracing and all that stuff. Hard one to say specifically. To be honest with you, I would say the best thing to do is just look at Hogwarts Legacy review videos and see what the people say. I'd imagine there's going to be... I'm trying to think what engine it actually runs on. Yeah, I don't know what engine it runs on. Maybe if Dave Aikins played it, he may be able to offer some advice there. It was one of those games where it got really hyped up before it came out, and I thought, that's generally a bad sign. If it's anything like Starfield, avoid. Yes, Kath.
Toke asks, did you buy the copper version of that?
No.
Otherwise, I'll be very disappointed.
You're going to be disappointed. Okay, we'll talk about this ITX for a minute, and then we'll talk about the 4080s and 4070s and all that other stuff later on. See if there's anything else there.
Was created with the Unreal Engine up at the bottom.
Oh, right, yeah. If it's created with the Unreal Engine, then it's going to be NVIDIA all the way. Every game that runs with the Unreal Engine is basically designed with NVIDIA in mind. So if you're playing Fortnite, I'm trying to think what other games are on the Unreal Engine. There's loads of them, but...
Would I get away with RTX 2060 Super?
2060 Super is 8 gigs of RAM, 1080p. Yeah, I think you probably would. You might need to possibly reduce it down to medium or maybe even low to get a pretty decent frame rate. But a 2060 Super with 8 gigs, I think will be fine. 1080p normally isn't going to use much more than about, I don't know, 6, maybe 7 gigs of RAM. So you should be right. If you went to 1440p, I think you'd struggle with that game. But 1080p, I think you'll be absolutely fine. Viali 100's with us. How you doing? And G-Zone 2.0 says hi, Mubs. David Underhill.
Where's G-Zone?
You in top chat, or I'm actually in top chat, not all chat.
Why
Let's
is
go
it-
to live chat and
why
see
is
if
it
that.
not showing everything then?
I don't know. I thought it was the other way round. Ugly Bob says Jason Woods, you'd get away with playing that on a 5700 XT or a 3060, no problems. So a 2060 Super isn't going to be massively far away from a 3060. Old Man Wither says, I'm more excited about the rumours of new AM4 processors. The new AM4 processors, I would say, well, I don't think it's going to be something to necessarily get excited about. It's more the case of X3D chips which have failed to run at 5800 and they are just down binning them. So lower frequencies and stuff like that. I don't think there's going to be any new kind of leaps in technology because that kind of fabrication is, I wouldn't say dead and buried, but they've moved on. It's part and parcel of how AMD, NVIDIA, Intel, all of them, they have to look at what is coming up and what is in the future, and they tend not to look too far back. They will still keep some fabs going, knocking out those processors, but I think what a lot of it will be for the new AM4 processors will be just rehashed versions of what is existing on the market already.
Jason Woods, I'm building a PC just for Hogwarts Legacy, that's what I'm asking.
If you're building a PC for Hogwarts Legacy, then arguably you're probably better off with an Intel processor and an NVIDIA graphics card. Probably you might even get away with a Intel A770. That might be an option as well. RTX is quite strong on the Intel cards if you want to be a bit of a gambler. Yes, Kath.
Patrick's in.
Patrick Lebel's in.
the sweaty-
Bless you. He says, hoping everything will be okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to do a full build in this tonight. This is just we're going to take a look at it, see what it's all about, explain what is going to happen, and I will then do a separate video where I go through the individual processes. This is just to get a bit of a feel for it and see what it's like. And this, again, it's very interesting. And also, Patrick, thank you very much. Massive shout out for sending that. Not only taking the time out of your busy day and schedule to print out the bits themselves, but to actually how much these things cost to ship. Now, luckily, I think it weighs less than a kilo. This is actually a case in this box, believe it or not. This is a relatively smallish box. I've taken some of it out already, but effectively, yeah, this is somewhere around about a kilo, because it uses about just under a kilo's worth of spool. But there's other things in there, sort of switches, connectors, cables, etc. But yeah, that is effectively an ITX case in there, which is ironic because the motherboard which is going in there, which is this one, the ASRock H610M-ITX/AC, the box for the motherboard is almost the same size as the box for the case. And the CPU cooler is actually not much smaller. So, well, you can see there's the motherboard there. Tiny little thing. And this is the cooler. So this is the Thermalright AXP90-47. Oh, X47. It says there on the box. That would have been easier to look. There is actually a full copper version of this. I went for the aluminium one because I'm a cheapskate. The aluminium one, you can pick up this CPU cooler for somewhere in the region of about £20 in the UK. I think I paid £18 roughly for it, but depending where you go. It is just a very, very small profile CPU cooler.
It's not copper.
It's supposed to be 47 millimeters. Now, when I was looking at this case after Patrick sent me some information about it, I've reached out to the brilliant person who actually designed it, I've actually put links for that in the video description as well, so I think it's called Maker...
Oh, I think they're in the chat then.
Oh, is it? They're in the chat, are they? Okay. No pressure then. Maker Unit, I'm here. There it is. So yeah, from Maker Unit. So if you've got any comments or questions about this this case when we take a look at it, oh, I'm watching. There's pressure. So basically, this is going to go into that little PC. So I thought I'll put something quite nice in there because Patrick's taken the time to actually do some customization to the case itself to be specific for Mike's unboxing, which is obviously very, very cool indeed. And it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to build it and it's not going to be one which is going to be disassembled. It's going to be put together and actually probably used in one of the rooms in the house. I'm not too sure where. I would love to be able to use it as a streaming PC, but unfortunately because of micro ATX being, mini ATX being what it is, it's not practical to have it for a streaming PC. So it's going to have to go somewhere, but it's going to be kind of pride of place because it is a very cool little unit. It would be a great little NAS, although I've got multiple NAS at the moment, which is a little bit of a pain in the backside. Well, there is actually Maker Unit's done another like revision of this. So if you like the idea of 3D printed cases and you've got a 3D printer or you just want to watch one and see how cool they are, he's got some amazing designs. So this is the is it the Little Boy S? Yeah, this is the Little Boy S, and he was asking for kind of people's constructive criticisms and comments and what have you. So there's a few different revisions of this. So there's the Little Boy M, and I think there's going to be a Little Boy L as well, possibly. So the Little Boy M is I think is the micro ATX version. My memory isn't brilliant on this at the moment, but yeah, there's basically other versions available. Though there is another one which I saw recently. I had a quick look at a video. I think it was only released about 4 or 5 days ago, where it's one where you can put a much bigger graphics card in, and also, if you want to, an ATX power supply rather than a SFX. So that is very cool. It's using a lot of the same design language that we're using in this, but there's some extra bits and pieces which I guess, without trying to put words into his mouth, that it's kind of, you learn these things as you go along with 3D printing and you find out things that work, things that don't, things you can improve. And it's kind of like a constantly evolving thing. And some of the brackets and kind of flexibility of the case that was on the video a couple of days ago, it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And also things like the right angled connectors that go into the power supply, learning the tips and tricks to get around those sorts of things, which, yeah, I think it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Vic Vector says, always interested in new ITX cases. I'm actually, after seeing this, now I've always thought of 3D printing as being one of those kind of very niche, kind of kooky things that people buy a 3D printer because it's kind of like the now thing. People are talking about it as a buzzword, and you can buy a bunch of plastic and print out some little shitty thing and leave it on your desk and cats will play with it and destroy it. But after actually seeing how this works and how it all goes together and how strong it is, I'm thinking I actually quite like modern 3D technology printing. It's pretty bloody cool. Anyway, let's have a look at the case and see what it is all about. Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of this wrong because 3D printing is not my thing. It really isn't. I don't do it. I haven't looked into it massively other than what I've seen very recently. So, wish me luck. So, inside this box, it was packaged better than this. My apologies to Patrick already. So, it's basically like a flat pack kitchen, or if you go to IKEA. If you've actually been to IKEA and you've bought any furniture, this is going to be right up your street. You're going to understand it immediately. So what you've effectively got is individual pieces. Now, because it's a 3D printer...
Streaming okay? Charles has put streaming stopped.
Yeah, it seems so. I haven't dropped any frames there.
Okay.
Although it seems to be going up rapidly. Bear with me a second. Let's go into output. Let's reduce that a little. Okay. See how that goes. Okay. Right. So we've got one bag here. So this is the kind of like accessories bag, like you'd get if you bought a normal case. I shouldn't say it. If you bought a regular retail case, let's say. So you've got a power button, pretty nice metal power button with an illumination around the outside, and that's pre-terminated. So you've got your power LED and the power switch there, and that has got a collar on it for tightening it up. So that's very handy indeed. There are also, there's this basically a tool for installing the motherboard standoffs. And if I'm right in thinking, the actual tool has been designed so that if you do the standoffs too tightly, this is designed to break, so you don't break the actual case or the motherboard mounting. It can be glued back together, apparently, if I remember rightly. So you've got the brass pillars for the motherboard standoff. You also got some little screws as well to attach it all together. There is another 3 screws there, which no doubt I'll probably have to refer to the manual. There's 5 of those altogether, the 1M screws, 3M screws, and there's the other one. So I think that is for attaching the power supply. Pretty sure Patrick, help me out. The silver ones or chrome ones, those are for mounting the power supply, is that right? Or, oh, actually no, these are for the motherboard, aren't they? Motherboard pillars, yeah. So silver screws for the motherboard pillars. You've got 5 screws there, which is basically all that holds it all together, because the rest is kind of interlocking. And also there are some plastic feet as well to go on the bottom of the case. I said I'm not going to be doing a full fit and finish on this today. This is just a first look to see what it's all about and kind of get my head around it. I've had this delivered. I've had a very, very brief look at it just to make sure that nothing was damaged. But I wanted to go through it on the stream with you guys so you can see what it's all about and basically get your opinion. Now, there's going to be some of you out there immediately who are going to say it just looks like a plastic toy or it looks like Lego. And I kind of understand where you're coming from. It is one of those things that when you are making things with a 3D printer, obviously it's plastic, so it is going to have a very slight look of that anyway. But ultimately it's going to be down to the individual. Depending on what filament you use and what finish you use, you can basically make it look pretty much however you want to. That is the beauty of 3D printing. So as you can see, it is a honeycomb mesh design. So airflow is going to be very good, which is pretty decent if you need airflow in a case. If you're doing an ITX build, maybe temps aren't always the be all and end all, but the ability to do either is fantastic. So it's actually really nice, and there's some slots down the side and some really nice touches, such as there are inserts, so brass inserts there. So these are for the little screws that we have here, I believe. So yeah.
Patrick says the tool for the posts are not designed to break, only the Allen wrench.
Oh right. Ah, sorry, yeah, the Allen wrench, that was it, my mistake, yes. I remember reading that in the email. So this is an Allen wrench, like an Allen key wrench, which is designed for these little M3 bolts, but they are designed, because this is plastic, obviously it's going to break long before the anything else will, so you can't really ever tighten it as such. It's really weird that that is an Allen wrench, which is actually made of plastic, but it doesn't feel like it's made of plastic, and it is actually, I think it's actually perfectly hexagonal.
Patrick says it's in PLA, but I haven't had a problem unless put in a really hot condition.
This is fantastic, it really is. So this section here is the base, as you can probably work out already. So this is where the feet get pushed into. So you got 4 feet on there to keep it off of the deck. And also because the graphics card, if you want to put a graphics card in, is going to be towards the bottom, you might want to put some rubber or some foam or felt actually on those feet just to raise it up slightly more to get a bit more airflow at the bottom. But as you can see, again, it is all this hexagonal mesh. Now, hexagonal mesh is really, really good for airflow. It's the best possible solution for airflow because you've got a much more open surface area. And there's also very cool little things in this. So like there's ridges along the side. So you can
model has higher feet.
So you can slot it. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, it's just ridiculously well engineered, and there's like a little slot in here, so it all kind of locks in together. It's so clever, it really is. I'll show you that bit last. So this is one of the side panels, and this side panel is the one where the power supply goes. And there's a little blob there, so that is actually to support the power supply, because obviously power supply, if you leave it in a plastic enclosure, there's going to be a tendency, especially if it's a good quality power supply, it's going to want to sag. So having this plastic support here keeps the whole thing more rigid. And you can see there on the end, there is a magnet which has been pushed into the plastic, 3D printed. I think that's glued in as well. And this is for the cool bit. So when you actually get it all put together, the front panel you can still remove really easily. It's basically held on with magnets. But there's also a latch system as well, which holds it in place to stop it from having any lateral movement. So it's just, it's kind of nuts. The amount of kind of ingenuity and stuff that's gone into this is just, yeah, it's phenomenal. This side here, I think that is that's the motherboard side, so motherboard tray. So again, all this hexagonal mesh, so even if you've got a smaller board, it's going to let the heat escape through, and you can put the motherboard standoffs in there. Again, more of this kind of slotted design, little standoff piece there again for the magnet, for it all to hold together. Now this bit is, now I've actually had before a 3D printed IO shield, and it was awful. It just fell apart. It was terrible. I bought a few of them. And I guess it's probably testament to how far things have come. But this is actually the rear I/O. So motherboard rear I/O is going to go there. The power supply SFX is going to go there. I think it's actually that way around. So that's the outside. And it's actually got like recesses for the screws to go in and all that kind of stuff. It's just so cool. But it's also got a 3D printed miniature PCI Express blanking plate bracket, just so that if you aren't going to be using a PCI Express graphics card in there, that there's something there to block it off to make it look nice and finished, which I think is just an amazing touch. It really is very, very cool indeed. And actually, I want to get a screwdriver because I want to take that out to see how good this is. And again, there is like a little brass M3 female bolt, or whatever you want to call it, in there as well.
David Underhill says should have made it Lego compatible so it can be decorated, enhanced with minifigures.
So there we go. There is the PCI Express bracket there, which just pops out. How cool is that? That is just brilliant. It really is brilliant. So that goes in there and slots in there. It's just, it's mad. It's barking mad, really. I'm still undecided whether or not I'm actually going to put a graphics card in here. I actually went out and bought a new motherboard, the one that you've just seen there, and I'm using Intel 12th Gen 12400 that has got an integrated graphics chipset on there. So it's using the UHD 730, which isn't great. But depending what happens with NVIDIA this coming few days, I am very tempted to put a 4060 in there, an ITX one. But we'll see what happens. Yes, Gav?
Make a unit.
Make a unit. I've got to give Patrick the creds for that PCIe slot bracket, but now I'll have to add that to my files. All right. So yeah, Patrick is the one who did the bracket there and designed that. It's incredible. It really is incredible. And it actually, there's a little lateral movement in it, but actually probably not much more than you get from like a more flimsy steel case. And actually it probably feels more rigid. Now this bit, the next bit, is the piece de resistance of the whole thing. The creme de la creme. The bee's whiskers. So this is the front panel, which has been customized in two ways. It's got the maker unit logo, but it's also got a little bit of Mike's unboxing going on as well. So there is the front panel. Which it is Lebel's Dollux. So the front panel again is all mesh, and it's got the Mike's unboxing, reviews and how-to there, and over there it's got the 100k. Welly Bob says, if this isn't built soon, I'm going to lose my mind. So that's really cool. And what is very cool is this section here. Well, you can see there actually the magnets. So you've got the magnets there to hold it on. There's also a slot at the bottom. So this is designed so that those interlock at the bottom, and also there's some lugs at the top there, which when it's in place, it actually stops any lateral movement to keep it stronger, which is brilliant. And I think I saw on the video of the case being dropped and moved around, and it was yeah, it withstood punishment. So you can put a 140mm fan in here, which for a mini ITX chassis is quite unusual. And I think I'm going to put an RGB one in there just because. Yes, Kath?
Matthew Day?
Matthew Day. I can't see. Where's Matthew Day's question?
It's not a question.
Oh.
Well, it is a question, but you won't know the answer.
Matthew Day. So if you have a 3D printer or a friend with one, how much would it cost in filament? Well, O'Reilly's question as well, how much for the case, and also how much does it take up? Charles Butler says, shut up and take my money. It's basically a kilo of filament, which, depending on what filament you use, is going to obviously change that significantly. I'm guessing it could be, yeah, £20 roughly. So, yeah, making it says between 0.8 and 1 kg of filament, depending on your infield density. So, yeah, it's not going to be overly expensive. Roughly, from what Patrick was saying, around about 20 to 24 hours of printing, which obviously you don't need to be sat around for that. You don't have to sit there and watch it. You can just let it do its own thing. But for kind of like a couple of days, well, not a couple of days, but if you're sat there watching it for maybe 5 hours a day, so 4 days, 5 days, a week's worth, and 20 quid or so's worth of filament, I think it's absolutely amazing. There's some other things which are added on as well, so things like these neodymium magnets, you can pick those up reasonably inexpensively. The other thing you're going to need is the power switch. The power switch, depending on where you get one from, those can be quite expensive, anywhere between sort of £5 to £20, depending where you get them from, etc, etc. But realistically, it's not anywhere near as expensive as going out and buying an ITX case. And also, it's that thing of making something of your own.
Patrick says the whole case cost me just a little more than the power button.
Right. So that is insane. Very insane. So, I'm going to assemble the case. I'm not going to put the motherboard in yet. I might not even put it in at all, but I'm going to put the case together just so you can visualize it to see what it looks like. And also so I can kind of get my head around it. Now, there is actually a video that Maker Unit's done for this and the other cases that he's done, which go through step by step showing you the best way of doing it. Now, I've watched that video and I can't remember any of it, so I'm just going to wing it and try and slot these pieces together.
Krypton Factor, here he comes.
So I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, you start off with the motherboard section.
You could install a phone charger on it, Mike.
I could, that'd be quite handy. So, I could actually, a phone charger built into it, that would be freaking awesome. A Qi charger on a case. I've always wanted that again.
YouTube it, Mike.
YouTube it. I'll get a copyright strike. So I'm pretty sure you start off with this. Why is going on my... There's something on PayPal, Catherine. I think.
That's fine.
So, Maker Unit, YouTube it. Do I start with the bottom first? Right, I'm just going to slot things together. If I'm doing anything completely wrong, then whatever. Stuart Cleary sent us in a £20 super chat. Thank you very much on PayPal. Much appreciated, Stuart. Appreciate it. Right. So, magnets. So that is that and that. So there must be one that goes... I really wish I could remember things. Right, actually, the magnets are at the front, clearly, aren't they? Or are they? I'm thinking now. I really should watch the video. So... Ah, of course, yes. Oh, I'm thinking now. So, the 4 magnets that you've got here, these are actually very cool because the magnets there are for attaching the fan. So, when you put your 14 centimeter or 140mm fan in there, you put your case mounting screws in the front of the fan, and then those magnets hold on to the fan, which is brilliant. So that way you can take this bit off. If you want to, then you can detach the fan and still get in and do some poking around inside your PC case. So because those 2 magnets there are at the top, that means that...
Have you seen Maker Unit?
I haven't. Making it mount the motherboard first. Since you're skipping that part, just slide in the bottom, then the top. Okay, so slide in the bottom, which is that way round, I think, and that way round, because the screws, I think, go into the back, if I'm right in thinking. So that looks kind of right. And the top is the one with the power button. So that is going to be that way round. This is very exciting. Roy, if I see bigger brands copy elements of this, I know where they got it from. Top class designing and engineering. It really is. This is freaking awesome.
And we didn't design it.
Yeah, we had nothing to do with the design of this. This is...
No credit for us.
yeah, we deserve no credit in this whatsoever.
Great for cleaning if you like that sort of thing. You do like cleaning.
I do. Cleaning is a big part of my life. Right. Am I doing that right? Oh no, sorry, that goes in that way.
Come on, mate.
So slide that into there. No pressure. Okay. So there, we've got our basic kind of construction going on there. So you can now flip over that, which is probably the wrong way of doing it altogether. But you guys know me. So we can put the back panel on, and that just locks in. I should do the overhead camera so you can see this better. So there you go. So now we can put screws in the back, which I believe are those ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So just got to tighten those up using the 3D printed hex key tool.
Cable management is going to be a tad fiddly diddly.
Yeah, cable management on ITX cases is never easy. Like I said, I would strongly suggest taking a look over at Maker Unit's website. Not website, the well, website if you want to. Take a look on their YouTube. The designs and the build are amazing. They really are. So there we go. That is the kind of the main chassis part together. I'm gonna actually, should I do it from this side? I don't think you can see it from that side very well. Let's put it back onto the main camera. So the front panel, this bit is absolutely ingenious. So there's a little cutout there. There's a little cutout there. There's also a little cutout in the bottom of the case there, and you've got the magnets there. So this section here cuts in to the bottom. Those bits latch into the top and the magnets hold it all in place. So literally a kind of toolless setup. Literally grab the front and there you go. There is your ITX chassis, and very, very little movement in it at all. But how cool is that? That's a computer case, an actual computer case made out of plastic. That's just nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Isn't that bad boy? I think we get one now. Get 3 kittens.
And it's got plenty of airflow. This thing is so cool. It really is. I am so impressed with that. It's barking. Absolutely barking mad. I love it. It's really, very cool. And of course, the power button and all that stuff normally would reside in the top. So I'm actually going to stick that in as well, because that probably isn't something which is overly exciting to see.
Show how the power supply mounts, Mike.
Okay, I will show how the power supply mounts. And to take the front off, there's a little indentation there. So you push it forward and drop it.
So used to dropping stuff, I don't know why I did that.
This is barking mad, it really is. JB's Arcade Mods says, hello Mike and Kath, how you doing JB's? And Andy Archer, how you doing Andy?
Andy's been there a while.
Oh, Andy says, show how the power supply mounts, Mike. I'm going to get this power button round the right way, because there's actually a little logo on the top. And I want that to be perfect. The beauty of this is if you have a like a specific color or logo or basically anything that defines you or your brand or your channel or whatever, you can do it however you want to. Do it whatever suits you. Like, just buy the filament that suits what you want to do. So if you wanted like a pink one, you could do a pink one easily enough. If you wanted to do like a Minecraft themed one, you could probably do that quite easily as well. Well, I don't say quite easily, that's probably underestimating the whole thing drastically. But you know what I mean? It's, there is so much potential flexibility that you can do with this. It is absolutely barking mad. I'm going to push those on.
Ugly Bob.
What's Bob said? Andy Archer said it would be good if the button had an LED. It does have an LED built in actually. Right, it doesn't want to fit in without... I don't want to put too much pressure on that. Or maybe they only go in a certain way. I don't know. They probably will go in all the way actually.
Ugly Bob still.
Ugly Bob. I want a front panel with this eating 3 cream eggs.
With me and 3 cream eggs.
Yeah. There we go. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Right, I'm going to put a power supply in. I'm going to have to get that said power supply, so bear with me a moment. And I will also have a quick slurp of my tea. I should mute the mic really, but I can't be bothered. Very good.
How big is the side? Would it take your 200mm pan?
No. I don't think it was. No, I don't think it would. I don't think you'd have enough room. You could make the 200mm fan externally, possibly, but it might be somewhat of a finger snapper. Right, so let's take this front panel off. It's just... I love this case so much.
Come on, Mike, build it. It won't take longer than 30 minutes.
I know, but if I build it, then I'm going to have to take it all apart again to do the video. But I might do that anyway. It is becoming very tempting, because there isn't actually a lot more I need to do. And I am gaining confidence.
Maker unit? I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Maker unit, theoretically about 66 to 67 mil will fit, but the PSU will block the airflow partially. I'd recommend nothing above. Oh, that's for the CPU cooler. Yeah, the CPU cooler we've got is the that one. If you can see that. So it's the Thermalright AXP90 X47. So it's a 90mm fan and a 47mm height. So we've got about 7mm of clearance by the power supply in theory. But then this is a slightly more chunky SFX power supply. And also, I should say, massive shout out to Thermaltake UK for the power supply. They did send it to us absolutely ages ago. And this actually gets used in pretty much almost every single BIOS flashing video. So it's been brilliant.
While you're talking of power supplies, Trevor Mundell wants to know what's the best power supply I can get for a new PC I am building myself.
Power supplies at the moment, if you're building a new PC, power supplies are prohibitively expensive. They are very, very expensive for what you can get at the moment. So it depends what you're looking for and what you need. If you can get by with something cheap and cheerful, something like the Ars Gaming 600 or 700 watt power supplies that we've reviewed on the channel before, you can still pick those up for about 25, 30, 35 pounds, which isn't great at the best of times, but I need my screw box. But those will get you by until prices hopefully kind of level out a little bit, which I'm hoping they will do sooner rather than later. This is my organised screw box, which the clips on the side of this. Now this is a hashtag blame Dave moment.
Not the cat, Dave.
Not Dave the cat, Dave the person who sends deals into our chat and then we all buy it. This was one of his ideas. So I'm actually holding him personally responsible.
Squibby's just asked, they've just joined the stream, where
Hi,
did you
Squibby.
get this IKEA?
No, it's not from IKEA. It's from it's 3D printed by Patrick Lebel, good friend of the channel, and done using a design from Maker Unit, which the links for Maker Unit are in the video description. So if you wish to check out what options are available and what you could potentially do, then feel free to check those links out.
And Ian Taylor says, what would a complete cost of this build?
Complete cost of this build is hard to say because it depends on what you're going to put in terms of the power supply and all that kind of stuff. The power supply is probably going to be one of the most expensive items, to be fair. The case itself, from what Patrick was saying, all in, all the bits, the buttons, etc., and the filament, you're looking probably about, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds, I think. I might be slightly off there, but I think that is pretty much it. Power supply, this particular power supply from Thermaltake is extremely overkill. This is 850 watt PCI Express Gen 5 ATX 3.0, which is ridiculous to go in here. It has no business being in here, but it's bizarrely, it's the smallest one I've actually got.
Just make sure George doesn't spill anything on this case.
Oh gosh,
He
yeah.
didn't spill anything on this case, that was Daisy.
Yeah, it was Daisy that spilt stuff. Actually, I'm going to put that down on the side. I think that's the more sensible way of doing this.
Oh, let's have a D in the chat for Daisy. We still miss Daisy, don't we?
Alright, let's see if we can do this. I think in the actual instruction video, this is exactly how you shouldn't do it. And actually, I think this would have been maybe a little bit better to have a little riser of some sort, maybe underneath the power supply, just to get it into the right position. Or just...
Folks just asked, can we fit a riser then? Any GPU size in it? Oh, that's a thingy riser in it.
There we go, we're in now. In like Flynn. I feel like I should be supporting this more when I'm doing it, but it's actually really solid. And of course, if I break anything, I just say, Patrick, can you print me some more stuff, please? I wouldn't say that.
Well, rarely, that case has one issue: it does not have anti-hairball protection from the cats. They rarely have furballs.
No, they're actually they're pretty good.
Like twice a year, maybe, between them all.
There we go. Power supply's in.
The GPU fits directly onto the motherboard, so no riser needed.
Yes. Yeah, the actually I might as well do that, aren't I? How am I going to do that now? I'm building in reverse. This is probably not the best way of doing it. Right, I'm going to take that apart.
You can actually do the build.
I am probably going to end up putting it in, aren't I?
You are, aren't you?
Let's put it in there.
I reckon you could do the build and make a coffee.
Could I make a coffee at the same time as doing the build?
Here's your turn.
Unlikely.
Dutch Jam, is there room for front I/O?
There maybe. The front I/O, yeah, that is definitely something of a consideration, I think, the front I/O. Because at the moment, this particular motherboard I've got has got very limited I/O. But I don't see why you couldn't on... We'll see what it's like with the motherboard in. I think you could probably get some I/O, maybe into one of these side panels, possibly.
Uh-oh. Dave's awake.
Uh-oh.
No.
I can't...
Let's see.
Right, let's take that out of there. This is so bizarre. Like, working on a PC that is essentially made of plastic. And I do feel very nervous. But I know I shouldn't have to. But I am going to be delicate with it regardless. These this little Allen key. This Allen key is made of plastic. I know I have to keep on reiterating this, but this Allen key is made of plastic. That is how strong it is. I never knew that plastic was that strong.
Bare hands.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I can get that out of there, can I? Because I need to take that out of there, don't I? Yeah, I do need to completely disassemble this to get the motherboard in, I think. I should have just watched the video game. That would have been easier, wouldn't it?
So, Maker Unit said the external panels can have tighter infill pattern density to prevent cat hair inhalation, but at the cost of airflow.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because of the, I think in the, like, I'm a complete idiot when it comes to 3D printing. I've got no idea how it all works, what the deal is. I know you have like a STL file or something, which I still don't really understand, to be completely honest with you. But, what was I going to say? Can't remember what I was saying. The STL file, I'm sure you can make modifications to the actual file. So if you do want it to be filled in more, then that's something you can definitely do if you need to, or if you want to.
I found this on the web.
Communicating a crisis. Okay, right.
Patrick Lebel, carbon fibre enhanced FG.
Is it? It's mad, isn't it? Thank you for the super chat, Glenn. Oh, have
I
I
noticed them much quicker without me turning the light off.
I just happened to look over at the right time, I think. That's more luck than judgment. Now, have I just lost one of the motherboard riser pillars? Yes, I think I have.
Hello, Candy.
Where have I lost that to?
You okay?
Right, help me out, Kath. My eyesight isn't the greatest.
I can't go on camera. What are you looking for?
A brass riser.
I help.
Go away. Right, I'm going to put that on my parts bin over there. That is 3, isn't it? I have not lost my my mind. I probably have.
You're not even Candy, are you? You're Otis.
That is pre-threaded. Very good. Where have I put the other one?
Is it left in there?
It can't. No, it can't have gone very far, because I've literally been here. And back. No. I'm sure it was here. I've got some spares, so it's not the end of the world, but it would have been nice if I could see that one.
Fingers.
What have I done with that? It's got to be here somewhere.
Just a few. What's a few days? I see Maisie. Getting back to sleep. Mapes.
So with the motherboard pillar standoffs, you could, if you wanted to, put a little bit of glue in there to hold them in place. But I would probably think you might have to use some... Oh, yeah, probably stuck underneath one of the magnets. We have magnets. What have I done with that? Oh, it's inside the this tool, which I probably should have been using. Oh, this is just too cool. It really is.
Step files are available for free with this model, can be modified in most CAD programs.
This is brilliant. It really is.
It's in the key.
Yeah, it's in the key. I just realised
I
that.
just got back to my PC to read it all.
Who said it was in the key?
By Ali.
Thank you, Viali. I am such a noob. But my heart's in the right place.
And Patrick, maybe in the tool.
Sorry, I'm just so excited. This is great. It really is. It's not often that we get to do something so unusual on the channel. O'Reilly says, is that case available to be ordered on something like Etsy? So that is a very good question. I honestly don't know the answer to that, but I'm guessing
You'll have to pay tax on it now.
you'd have to pay tax on it now in the UK. Oh, I think that's gone in the wrong angle.
And Maker Unit said what I thought. Copper's not magnetic. I should know that because I test my 1 and 2Ps.
Right, that one wasn't threading particularly well in there. So I think that's okay now. The thing is with this, you don't want to over tighten your threads on there. But that is awesome. Right, I've got to try and think now. So that is that right? Yeah. So that is going to be there. Which, yeah, that kind of looks right. This is exciting. Possibly not for you lot, but for me, I'm having a blast.
This is a real blast.
No,
Go and
no
help.
cats.
Go and help Otis.
Don't
He's licking it.
don't lick the PC.
What's that? Mantles.
Calf.
He hasn't got a magnet on there, has he?
I know. I don't want anything breaking.
Oh, you're not allowed to help tonight. You gonna get some foodies?
There we go. There is the motherboard on the tray. Make sure that's all the right heights and stuff. Bloody awesome. Now I did have to deliberate on this a little bit with this CPU cooler because the Thermalright instructions that come with it are awful. And it comes with 2 sets of screws for LGA 1700, AM4 and all that kind of stuff. There's one set of screws which are really super long. And I'm glad I didn't use them now because it would basically not allow me to put this inside. So, excellent stuff. Right. So, I'm going to have to do this in reverse order now, I think, aren't I? So let's put I think the bottom goes on next. Aletta says it's fun to watch a grown man play with Legos. It does feel like that, doesn't it? Right, those, wow. The little feet that go on the bottom, that is such a good...
Again, then.
They're never coming out, I don't think. Although you probably could push them out from the back.
They got holes underneath.
But that's a weird feeling. That is like, they're plastic feet, but they feel like so secure when they pop into the design. How?
Tested the board.
Yes, I have tested the board, yeah. I don't know how that is even possible to make it feel that good. Putting normal case feet onto a case, the ones where you just pop them in, don't feel as nice as that did. I'm sorry, but that's exciting to me. I don't get out much. You probably realised this already.
Maker unit?
Maker unit. The international shipping prices from Norway are way too high for it to make any profit without charging a fortune. Therefore, I am not offering them for sale. That's fair enough. It might even be worth considering. I don't know if you would or not, but maybe consider like subcontracting, or at least allowing a third party to do your designs and sell them. I don't know how you would do it, but I'm sure there must be some facility which will do 3D printing. Although I suppose really you want to have the kind of that final quality control as well. It's a difficult thing to kind of work out, really. It really is. I need some memory. So we are going to grab some Lexar. We've got to have some RGB in this to go. So we're going to stick in some Lexar RAM in here. This is the Lexar Ares, I think this is. Yeah, the Ares DDR4. This is DDR4 3600. But this platform will only support out to 3200 megatransfers per second. So it's a little bit overkill for this, but it's actually a pretty decent price at the moment. As are a lot of Lexar's products at the moment. And I'm not saying this just because they've sent us stuff. I'm saying this because it's true. If you want to save yourself some money on M.2 drives and all that kind of stuff, then it's definitely worth putting a search in for Lexar when you're doing your builds. David Aitken, £2. Thank you very much, sir. Where's my bloody mouse? There we go. Well, if I put it onto something which would actually track, there we go. He says, you know what they say about men with tiny cases? Little spaces?
It's all true, Dave.
It's all true. I have a very little space.
Oh, Otis. Come back up.
Okay, so we've got our motherboard and everything in. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a good idea to attach the cables from the PSU right now. So when this is actually in situ, is it that way round? No, it's that way round. No, that's wrong, surely. Oh, it's that way. Hang on, I've done something dreadful here, haven't I? Have I done something badly wrong?
Why is the mouse bloody?
Bloody mouse?
Why is the mouse bloody? Mother see you. Don't know. A murder.
There's been a murder. Oh no, that is right, isn't it? Yeah, because that normally goes on last, doesn't it? So there's actually some pretty decent clearance there, actually. Let me spin that round so you can see.
Otis. Don't wait there, mate.
So with that pretty much in position, so between the CPU cooler and the power supply. It's actually a pretty decent amount of room there. I would guess if I was someone who didn't have a tape measure to hand, which I actually do.
You don't need to tape measure, you have a ruler, haven't you?
Yeah.
That will do that.
Let's see how many.
Tiny faces, shiny faces, isn't that an REM lyric?
I don't know. There is just, I think about 17 millimeters of free space there. So that's more than enough for it to be able to breathe. So I'm kind of happy with that. I'm going to plug in the extensions, power supply. Have I said yet that this is very cool? I can't remember if I did or not. I think I might have done. Oh man, that's a shame. The power supply cable has got to be bent round on an angle. So that's going to be there. Yeah, for this purpose it actually might have been better for me to turn the power supply round the other way. So I don't have to have a twist in the cable. But that is that. So, I/O shield. I could do with an I/O shield on this, which is in the box somewhere. Oh yeah, factions, yeah. Oh, the rear I/O fits in like an absolute glove. Oh, I'm an idiot. Right, I'm going to take the power supply out of there, I think, for now.
I thought you were going to do that right at the beginning.
What, take the power supply out?
Yeah, before building any further.
I was. It's a lot easier when you watch it on a video, eh?
Who do you want to call?
Ghostbusters?
Oh, Rick H is
Okay, searching for WhatsApp on the App Store.
What's that? Rick H what?
Read it.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Rick. You're trying to be a blood donor, but without going to the hospital.
You did go to the hospital.
Victor Vector says, so many possibilities. There is. That is the beauty, and also, to some extent, the downside of these kind of cases, because there's so many possibilities, and it's actually hard to design a case which covers all those eventualities and doesn't have some slight negative points, let's say. And I forgot to bend out the I/O shield, which is why that wasn't going in right. So, what are we doing? Sorry, I'm going to have to turn it around so I can actually see what is happening here. That's better. Oh, just popped out the I/O shield. Right. Mental note to self, next time, captive I/O shield. I think. Okay. Actually, that holds in nicely. So, I think something's getting in the way there.
You need some black paint on the shield to blend in.
Right, there's something here which is hitting. I think it's something to do with this I/O shield. Now the I/O shield on this particular board, they've put in like that real flexy kind of padding on the back, which I think might be a little bit too much for it. So I might have to remove that padding off the back. And there's a little tag. Oh, go away. There's a little tag on the back. Let's bend that right up out of the way. And that one. Okay. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen, but I've got to do it right. Because otherwise it will annoy me forever and a day.
Probably the hardest part of plastic case had bad enough in metal cases.
Yeah. Right, that is, I think that is better. It still looks like there's something pushing that out. Right, I need to investigate this a little bit further, I think. I think it is that padding. Or is there something sticking out there? Yeah, I just think it's the padding on the I/O shield is just a little bit too much for it. Obviously with the metal case you've got a lot more options to kind of mitigate that a little bit. So I'm going to get a couple of screws in this side.
Sorry about the kittens, by the way. Blowing Mike's ice cream stick. Is Charles the only one here having streaming problems? Mine seems okay.
Yeah, our stream seems okay. I don't think we've lost any frames at the moment. Okay.
Minor collaboration differences between printers can affect the fitment of certain parts as their tolerances are quite high.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact. I don't know whether it's a little bit low, or the motherboard's a bit low. No, it's not. No, because they match up perfectly. I think it's just this got a padded I/O shield, which in modern times is kind of a very rare thing to see. But it's making it bow out ever so slightly. A little bit of a heat cycle on there, and that'll be fine. So if I put in the, what do I want to put in next? I want to put in the top panel. Where do I even put the top panel? I'm losing my mind. Ah, it's that one on it. So let's put this side panel in, and then that'll shore up that back bit, and then we can put the power supply in, do a bit of cable management there. We've got to put a fan in this thing yet. The fan, I think, is going to be quite an easy thing to do. So we want that. So feet at the bottom. So that is the top. Oh yeah, so
Charles is off.
I'm confusing myself with this. Cheers, Charles. Yeah, magnets at the front. So yeah, that slides on there, doesn't it? That's where I've gone wrong. I should have slid that in first, I think. And then that in second. Okay. Let's undo that.
Behind the PSU, the top panel. That helps.
What's that?
Patrick says, behind the PSU, the top panel.
Right, let's see if I can slide that in. I might be able to do that without actually removing the whole thing. Cringe. I should just rip out that padding off the I/O shield. That would make my life considerably easier. But potentially, I might have to send the board back at some point. think that's going to give me enough room now. There we go.
No, he's in the wrong chat room.
Oh, is he? Who was?
Patrick.
Oh, Patrick. He's watching two builds at the same time. I hope it's not a build off. I don't think I'm ready for that.
Oh, sorry, Bob Maisie. Back in your face.
Right, let's get that screw back. Oh, that screw is in the bottom. I just loosened it off.
Channel called Mike's Bodgins.
There's no bodging on here. It's all a learning curve. Rick H says, you're a brave man, Mike, building a 3D printed case. You can do it. To be honest with you, if it wasn't for the fact that I'd already seen this build being done by the person who designed it, I would probably run for the hills. But I saw the job he did, and I've got to be honest, it's a pretty impressive one. So I think that will be all the motivation I need. I'm looking around now. I need a fan. And what fan shall I use? What have I got which has got a bit of RGB on it? Because I've got to have something with RGB really. Unifan SL120 ARGB. Now, has that got the controller in it? I don't think it has. That might work. Will that work?
Keeping up with the Joneses. The Davy Joneses. We're missing one. Where's one gone?
Does this need a daisy chain ARGB fan? Does this need a controller? Whoa, easy.
Where did Candy go? You licking your lips for Davy Jones?
I'm pretty sure the SLV2. Oh no, actually no, it does need a hub, doesn't it? Oh no. I've never used these before either. So where does that go in there, or does it not? Oh, that side. Okay. So I'm going to use the Unifan as a Unifan, literally on its own. And that is going to terminate to a PWM and a ARGB type connection, which I need to use an adapter on the ARGB side, which I have already somewhere. Yes, please, yeah. Sorry about this taking so long.
I'll drink that first.
Yeah, go on. Thanks.
It's because you were drinking tea. It's freezing in here. How cold is it?
It's 20.8 degrees. It's not bad. This fan, I don't know if there's going to be, is this RGB? It says it's got RGB, but, oh, just on the sides, I think. It'll do. This was kindly gifted to us by Mr. Colin Hilton. Thank you very much, sir. And that will go onto the chassis fan header, which is right over here. And that one will go onto the addressable RGB header, which is over here somewhere. I think I've just added a lot of complexity that I didn't need to. That seems to be the story of my life. Right, okay. I'll try and work out this wiring now. Right, stay there. So that's got to go all round to the front. That's going to go there.
Put you out the window. They've been little lunatics, aren't they? I'm not chasing around in the
For those of you wondering, that is the noise of Flame. He is our cat. He's the big whingy one.
No, he wanted to go out, but the kittens keep running out, and I'm not running around in the dark looking for him.
Rick says, right there with you, Mike, when my OCD kicks in. I think I'm going to need a paracetamol after this. Well, the cable management can be worked with. Matthew Day says cable management is the curse of ITX. It is actually. It's extremely hard to get an ITX case that has even, I would say, I wouldn't say even good, but sufficient cable management options. Very, very few indeed. Normally it's just a case of just chucking everything in and closing the case up quick. Okay, so that is that done. So now I can rotate that round very gently. Although I don't think it needs to be done that gently, to be fair. It's pretty bloody well made. Or at least it was until I started faffing around with it. So let's think about this cable management. I think I have made a rod for my own back here. Right, that can go over there. Bend that out over there. That can also go around there, so a bit of cable tie magic going on there. That will actually help hold it all together. And then we might just have enough room for a fan on the front as well. Possibly, with any luck. Let's grab some case screws, or some fan screws. Now this fan is actually considerably bigger than most 140mm fans. Well, at least it appears to be. So this may be a work in progress.
No matter how hard this build is, look at Mike, he is loving it.
Yeah. I like a challenge. It's very rare these days you get an actual bona fide challenge. Or at least one which is worthwhile. Coming up on next month's stream, how to build a slightly larger micro ATX case. Don't worry, there is a slightly larger version available, should anyone wish to do a slightly larger version. Okay, right. Get some screws in the back of this here. Do screws even go in there actually? Yes. See, that's around the wrong way, isn't it? No, it's not. Is there meant to be a screw there? One, two, three. Oh, of course, it goes into the top, doesn't it? Yeah, so really you want to do your cable management before.
Mike, what about the power button, Patrick says?
Good point. Well done. Power button, we'll get that on the go.
The screws go into the top panel.
Yeah, when the top panel's gone in.
When
If I lean it down on the side, that's going to make life a bit
part
easier.
is so annoying on there, isn't it?
That what?
Part where you can't read the last word.
Oh yeah.
Come on then.
Let's put that right down the bottom. Next time I'm using a smaller power supply.
Davy Jones's AirPods. There's one there,
It's nice to see a mic challenged.
and there's one in the box. This box, copy.
That's what it's all about. A bit of challenge. You don't want things to be dead easy, do you? I think with this, the cabling isn't helping here. Also, the power supply has actually got longer cables than what you would normally have on an ITX, which is for putting this into a larger case. It makes sense, but in a smaller chassis, that's pretty much the last thing you want. You want your cables to be as short as possible, really. Where's my head torch is all the way over there, and I've only got one hand, so I'm going with this. So power LED plus and minus. Must get those around the right way. Go away, little thing.
Hold on. I'm nearly back.
Right. Right, that is that done.
Candy?
So let's get that out of the way. Hey, case, get out the way. There we go. Lovely jubbly. That doesn't like that back panel at all. Yeah, the padding on the rear panel is
Andy's saying
disastrous.
YouTube's playing up a lot tonight. Mine seems to be okay.
No, but this motherboard's playing up.
Mike, you forgot the...
I forgot the what? Oh, come on. I need an extra pair of hands.
Got plenty of pools.
Yeah. Okay, right. There we go. We're getting somewhere. And we have a power button that seems to be there and working. Right, so there's the rear view, so to speak.
Will a 4080 Super fit in this?
Yeah, 4080 Super might be a challenge. That might be a challenge a bit too far. But hey, never say never. Now this, again, I've not helped myself here because I've got an adapter for this Lian Li fan, which has got all this nonsense hanging off it as well. So, yeah. If I can get the cable in to route down the bottom, we might be onto a winner.
What material is it? PETG or ABS, etc.? PETG, isn't it?
PETG, I think I heard banded around a little bit earlier. That's pretty cool. Lian Li are going to go mad at that. Magnetic mounts. You copied our design! And there we go. It's together.
Patrick printed it in PLA.
It is assembled, ladies and gentlemen. Give myself a round of applause. Give myself a shiny.
What was that on? That was the big
remember.
program 2 years ago, wasn't it? Oh, can you see me? It makes you purr, doesn't it,
Right.
when you see me?
Let's see if it actually turns on and doesn't make silly noises when the fans are spinning, which it shouldn't do.
They're in here, Pops.
That is quite mad. I think for future reference for myself, I think I would go with a slimline 140mm fan, possibly. Off. Nothing blew up.
Bang!
Oh, you idiot.
Sorry, Poppy.
Hey, at least it's lit up and it's working and it's on.
That is
And
cool, isn't it?
the power LED is illuminated. The fan doesn't appear to be spinning. That might be a work in progress thing. But it looks good.
Poppy.
Oh, it's spinning. Oh no.
Whoa.
Yep, it definitely wasn't spinning. So we need a bit of cable management going on there. But it's working and it's on. It's actually very quiet. So this is probably my fault actually for the lack of any real cable management going on here. So I'm going to unplug that for now. I have pushed the limits of what is supposed to go into a little case like this, really. And there is some kinks in the cable. And there we go. The motherboard software's just kicked in. So trying to work out which way is going to be better for...
You need a fan grill for that fan.
A fan grill would actually be a really, really handy thing, I think, yeah. And what I should have done is cable managed the power button switch. The thing is with this, you don't really want to cable manage it until you're actually satisfied that it A, works, and B, kind of all fits. So I can cable manage that bit up now quite easily. Which, well, I would if I knew where my cable ties were. Where's my cable ties at? That's the trouble owning cats, you see. Right, let's go, let's pull out the big guns. Where's Ugly Bob's Velcro ties? They're up here somewhere. There we go. Oh, damn it.
Grab you some zip ties if you have any. The cats have kicked them
Right,
flying somewhere.
got some multicoloured tie wraps here.
Where did mine go? It must be in the drawer in the kitchen. Thank you, Ugly Bob.
I don't think I'd want to put a graphics card in here, to be fair. I think that would be a little bit of a tough one. But I have seen it done, so I wouldn't say it's out of the question.
Poppy.
Actually, that's going to be not very useful for there. So I might stick that up in the top. There we go. I think we're winning a little bit now. tuck that in under there. Oh. Is that it? Yeah. Oh no. There we go. That fits, and is it spinning? It bloody is, you know.
Stephen Aiken said, Mike, if you want any customised parts updating to your preference, let me know and I can modify them.
Bless you. That's very kind of you. Do you know what? The loudest... The cat. You can actually feel there is positive air pressure. You can feel it coming out from the back here. It's a very, very small amount of heat from the side. That's pretty sick. I'm going to turn the light... Kath, turn the lights off a minute, please.
Oh, it actually works, thank you.
Look at that bad boy.
No extremist stuttering.
Is it?
Well, it seems alright, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've seen
And just said
okay.
yes is as well, so whether YouTube's having problems in certain areas.
Cats are going mad. So there we go. How neat is that? And there's actually quite a lot of positive pressure in there.
And David's stream stuff here too.
And it doesn't feel like it wants to fall apart, and you can rock it around a little bit.
Maker unit. Now I feel I need to make an illuminated logo too in the middle.
So yeah. That's confident for you.
Too much rainbow puke. My eyes are burning.
We can turn off rainbow puke. And see if the power button works. Should shut down now. There we go. It is working. It actually booted, because otherwise the Windows shutdown would not have worked. What the hell was that? Stop eating my stuff. Where's the other one?
In the box asleep.
Oh, that's right then.
It's only Otis. Where's your lollipop stick you chucked on the floor?
Yeah. Sorry. Right. So there we have it. There is the mini ITX PC from Patrick Lebel, and in conjunction with Maker Unit that is. Links are in the video description, so if you want to check it out. Maybe if you've got a 3D printer and you want to do something very similar, I think it would be a very, very fun thing to do if you've got a 3D printer to do your own.
Have the light green, it will look like a board cube.
There is literally so many possibilities of this. I think what I might do when I take it apart and rebuild it, which inevitably I will do, I think what I'll do is I'll end up sticking, doing a addressable RGB strip and stick it around all of the edges, like a really long one all the way around. That way you can make it look kind of however you want to. I think that'll be very good.
Is that the quickest build you've ever done?
I think that is the quickest build I've ever done.
That's because the cooler is already attached.
Yeah, I did
45 minutes on
most of it
screens.
was pre-done, to be fair. But it's kind of
You never had to build the case before as well.
it's portable. Yeah, I don't normally have to build the case.
So, I'll give you that.
That is very impressive, I must say. And I do like the fact that once it's actually built, if you want to gain access, it's kind of relatively straightforward. You can get access, you've got your power there, you've got your front I/O there. The power supply, you can get to the back of it reasonably easy. I think I would even be tempted, if I was going to do this again, would be to get someone like Cable Mods to actually make up cables specifically for this. So like nice short little cables, so that would take up a lot less room inside. And the fan, that magnetic mount for the fan, like, why has nobody done that before? I know people have done similar types of things with magnets and what have you, but that's just like such a kind of obvious thing. Yeah, cable management could be a little bit on the better side. That's my fault. But anyway, thank you very much, Patrick. Much appreciated. And thank you, Maker Unit, as well. I think it's turned out pretty darn good. 100k subs edition. It's a good job that's 3D printed, because then when we get to 200, I can just change the one. Or just put a sticker over the top of it. That'd be pretty cool. Maker Unit says, I really enjoyed seeing someone build my system. This way I can see you struggle and get new ideas for future designs. No worries. Andy Archer says a hinge on the bottom might be an idea. Nick Barnes says, looks cool, almost like a MIDI speaker from years ago. Yeah, actually it is. Yeah, like a hi-fi speaker. I have a pair of them. It is very cool. I think, yeah, the possibilities with this are very, very, well, it's an open book, it really is. Choices of colours, options for different mountings. I think realistically, for the size of it, and for what it can hold, and for what it can do, there isn't much better, I think, personally. Oh, for God's sakes, cats, go away! Thank you. It's this time of night they get there. Rick says, I'm waiting for the full tower ATX. Hey, don't joke about these things. If you've seen Maker Unit's website, you never know. That might even happen. Mike, any other places available for other fans in the case? Not really, to be honest with you. You probably, because the power supply side is like right up against there, so you could possibly get a couple of small fans at the bottom here. So on the inside of this, maybe a couple of 50mm fans, possibly. Maybe 60mm. You get a couple of 60mm fans in there to take some air in if you wanted to. On the top, potentially on the top you might be able to get, no, power supplies on that side, so no, top wise, no. The bottom, actually, the bottom section, if you don't put, actually, yeah, the bottom's got the biggest clearance of all. You could probably get another 140 or even a 120 in the bottom, but then you would lose the ability to put in a graphics card or any PCI Express card. But I think that is, I don't think there's anywhere else you could get away with putting stuff in. It's so bizarre, it really is. And for those that you're wondering, I think it's 8.1 litres is the capacity inside, so basically 4 bottles of cola. It's nuts.
Vic Vector, so I guess we're all moving to Norway.
Yeah, I think it must be, yeah. Yeah. Andy Archers is sponsored by Lego. Patrick says, happy to see I didn't screw too much. Looks very good with the LEDs, I must admit. Yeah, I think the LEDs, anything which has got some sort of ventilation or mesh on it, I think always works very well when you've got some LEDs. And in terms of airflow, I think because it's naturally extremely open, so there's very little that you would really want to change or do differently. It is very cool. It does look quite nuts. I'm very pleased with that. So yeah, thank you all very much. That is cool. What other questions is there? David Under says, idea for an I/O with a separate module like Leanne Lee used that can be mounted in different locations. Possibly, yeah, a little pass-through cable with I/O. Ian Taylor says you could have different coloured printed sides. Great little case. The future. It is, isn't it?
In-betweener's car.
Yeah, you could do it in In-Betweener's car style. Yellow and kind of rust red. Or red oxide red. Excellent stuff. Toe says, Mike, this be the start of more ITX case builds? Yeah, I think definitely. I've not really... I probably have shied away from them a little bit. They are slightly niche. But I think with motherboard prices in general increasing, it's kind of made the gap between the ultra expensive ITX and the kind of mainstream stuff actually quite close, or at least closer.
It is.
So it isn't like you get that complete sting. Jesus Christ. Right, Otis, go away. You don't get that like real harsh sting when you do a build like this, because motherboards and stuff are all really expensive and power supplies are super expensive as well. So if you're going to use a power supply, you might as well use a decent one. And it's not going to increase the cost much, and it's also going to give you more electricity, more efficiency. That's what I was looking for. It'll give you more efficiency. It's going to run cooler. It's just going to be a nicer deal overall. Although I struggle to see how this could be nicer. I think the fan, I might change the fan out for one with a more traditional kind of ARGB header on it. I do have a Thermaltake CT140, which might have been a better choice, but the wires are either super short or they've got extensions on which make them really long. So I don't know. Either way would have been a good choice, I think. That's actually, I can't believe that's happened so quickly. It's like just gone 10 o'clock. Normally we're like getting to midnight and I'm thinking, oh Christ, I still haven't finished it.
You haven't even noticed the time.
No. Right, let me pack some of this stuff away, and I will. We will continue, and we'll also continue discussing what is going on at CES. Is there anything other than the NVIDIA news that currently has you slightly excited? What is making you moist today? There goes the monetization. I was doing really well up to then. Togue, Mike, can I convince you by showing you some Chinese budget ITX Mobos with B650 and B760 chipset that doesn't have the ITX tax? Yes and no. There's me stating my case. The thing is, with any of the cheap motherboards, especially like stuff on AliExpress, yeah, it looks great on paper, and they probably do work quite well, but it's always the thing of how much money do you save, or how much money do you need to save in order to make it a good purchase? Because you've also got things like a lot of the Chinese motherboards generally won't have a BIOS update for the length of their life. There's going to be some boards which do, that break the norm, but in general they don't support them particularly well. And because again it's a lot of the Chinese stuff, if it's a Chinese brand for the Chinese, they don't really care. So if there's any kind of vulnerabilities in the platform that need patching, they'll be like, yeah, it's fine. We don't need to patch that. We need access to that. So it's, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Buffering again. Buffering. Are we buffering? Because it says excellent connection on the screen, but even I'm watching it back and it says it's buffering. What is going on? Let me check the router connections, because the cats have been playing down here. Right, cable is firmly attached. Cables are in. That one was a bit loose. It shouldn't really affect it, but we'll see. Oh, yeah, it says there, error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. It's buffering every so often. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll quickly close down OBS and I'll reopen it. See if that makes a difference. It might. CPU temperature is unusually warm. No, we'll try that. It's started the stream up again, so hopefully it should be alright now. It says excellent connection on there. So we'll see. Buffering. Dave Villeneuve says, looking at AliExpress prices, not much cheaper than Aussie suppliers, so no advantage. Aussie motherboards generally tend to be extremely competitive pricing in comparison with what we can get over here in the United Kingdom. Whether that is a tax thing or I don't know what the deal is with that. But it is, it's definitely a thing and definitely a consideration. There are some deals coming up on AliExpress as of the 8th of Jan, which conveniently coincides with CES. Thanks actually again to Toad for Toad for posting that in the Discord. Much appreciated. So yeah, from the 8th there's going to be some tokens available for AliExpress. So if you're looking at getting a nice cheap Ryzen 5 processor, perhaps, that might be something you want to check out. William says the stream did go down to 144p. Ooh.
Is that what mine's playing at?
Yeah, it might be. Does it look very blurry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably because I stopped it and started it again, I think. Is it going bad? Settings.
You going, Davy Jones?
Output.
Oh,
Let's try 6K. No, that might be better. That's very cool. So yeah, graphics card wise, I think if you're in the market for something around the sort of £500 mark for a graphics card, which I get it, it's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a graphics card comparatively. But if you think that the top of the range graphics card at the moment on the market is the best part of £2,000 or getting very close to that mark, it's going to be an interesting thing to see. And if there is going to be the thing is, it always has a knock-on effect. So if NVIDIA are leading the market considerably at the moment in terms of graphics card sales, although AMD have said that the 7900 XTX has been selling satisfactorily, which I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone would really know, but they say it is selling well. They've only had to drop the price, I think, once or twice. So if NVIDIA do something drastic, which it would appear that that is what they're going to do, and it would appear at face value, that the RTX 4070 Ti Super is going to be basically the same performance as the RTX 4080. And the 4070 Super is going to be basically the equivalent, if not better, than the RTX 3090. And that is going to be potentially, from what they're saying, what looks to be $600. So $600 for an RTX 3090 equivalent is going to change the playing field somewhat on the market, I think. So if that happens, Dave, stop. If that does happen, and there is some major leeway in pricing and performance, obviously that's going to have a knock-on effect with the rest of the market. So used graphics cards, where probably you and I are potentially looking, it's going to have a knock-on effect. If they take the best part of £200 off the price of RTX 4080 and replace these other models with superior ones, that's going to have a knock-on effect. So if you're someone at the moment and you're trying to sell something like an RTX 3070 and you're looking at trying to get sort of $250 for it, after Monday or Tuesday, it's probably going to take another 50 quid off that. which then an RTX 3070 in decent condition for 200 quid is pretty nice. And of course, then the rest of the stack's going to drop as well. So like an RTX 3060 Ti is going to be, I don't know, 150 to 200, if thereabouts, depending on the quality and condition. So it's going to have a nice look for everyone if NVIDIA do this. And I think it will make everybody in the marketplace have a quick kind of reshuffle of their stock, their inventory, and their pricing. Because I've seen a few sites now where they're kind of just really relisting the same stuff and the prices aren't really changing a great deal. So I think that is going to be it's going to be something which, if it comes out at the right prices, which the leaks have suggested, the 4070 Ti Super at sort of $800, if we get discount from dollars to pounds and it comes out at what, 700 maybe, 720, that's a lot of graphics card for the money. That's basically going to be the same as the RTX 4080, which has been retailing for the best part of 1200 quid or 1100 quid for a long time. So that is a big jump. Toe says, will there be a Founders Edition card for the 4070 Ti Super? I would imagine so. I can't see any reason why they wouldn't. I would think that, well, the rumours are that we've seen on Moore's Law and WCCF Tech, or whatever they're called, that the 4080 Super will be replacing the 4080 in the product stack. The 4070 Ti will be being replaced by the 4070 Ti Super. And was there another one? I think the 4070 will probably still stick around, but at a lower price. And then you've got the 4070 Super, which will effectively jump in the price point of the existing 4070. I think that's right from what I remember watching. But that sounds about right. But we'll see what happens. But again, I think if it was, if this turns out to be, and those recommended retail prices which have been leaked are legit, it's going to have a big effect on the market. And definitely, if you've been someone who's been saving up all year, and at Christmas you've just bought yourself a nice shiny RTX 4080, and you've spent close to 1200 quid on it, you're going to be pissed. So that is another thing we're probably going to see on Amazon in the warehouse deals. There's going to be a lot of the older 4080s, 4070s, 4070 Ti's. Because if you bought it in the last 30 days and you can return it and not have any penalties, then there's going to be a whole bunch of return cards going back when people do their pre-orders. Which I think, if the news comes out as we're expecting it to, or as what has been leaked, I'm pretty sure that on Monday or Tuesday, or whenever the pre-orders go live, a lot of people will be putting their money where their mouth is straight away, because they've been waiting for this to happen. And it's long overdue. And even if it's 5-10% faster than the card that it's replacing, if it's doing it at the same price or cheaper, it's just, makes sense, doesn't it? It really does. Andy Archer.
So is Super high, or is Super higher spec than Ti?
In its class, yeah. It's, in terms of the Ti, because at the moment the Ti range, there's only the 4070 Ti that is being kind of supered, because there isn't a 4080 Ti, I don't think, is there? Don't think there is. And there's the 4060 Ti. There isn't a super version of the 4060s that we know of, or at least at the moment anyway. So they're kind of the super. Think of the super card as being like an enhanced version of whatever is existing on the market already. So if there's a 4070 Ti, the 4070 Ti Super is just an enhanced version of that existing card. If that makes sense. Nick Barnes. Question. If supposedly we game at 1080p and 1440p, why do we need all this extra GPU performance? Is it for ray tracing purposes only? If it's for 4K, then won't the CPU need to be vastly uprated? The thing is, it's not about the resolution, which is a pretty common misconception. I always thought it was like 1080p is 1080p, 1440p is 1440p, and 4K is 4K. It's not. It kind of is. That is your base layer. So in that frame or that grid of pixels, you have your image. Now, most images are going to be a 3D image, so you've got depth and perspective. In that, we've also got, obviously, depending on the game, how it's designed, you've got the depth of field. And how far into that 3D environment is actually rendered to a reasonable or high quality. You've also got, adding on to that now, game engines now supporting higher resolution textures on the actual objects in the game. So if you think back to maybe CS 1.6 or older Counter-Strike, that was still 1080p, but it was a much lower polygon count, the textures were much more limited, and everything seemed more blocky and flat. Whereas now, because everything has had a visual upgrade, the textures are that much larger, so the amount of memory and the amount of processing power it takes to apply that texture or that image or that lighting onto a specific grid of pixels is vastly increased. So it's not like we've gone from 1080p to 4K, it's more we've gone from 1080p medium to 1080p high or 1080p ultra in terms of the actual amount of information that is displayed on the screen at any one time. And if you look at games like Counter-Strike, there's always been like a FPS limit, and we've always kind of got to it and not really crept too far over it, because as the technology is increased, the complexity of the game engine is also increased. So it's kind of, they've kept in sync with each other. So it's not a resolution thing. It's more a color depth or a precision depth of the game, which is increased, but at the same resolution. Hopefully that makes sense. Is it buffering again? I'm going to have to sack someone. Mark Berry says, my son got a 4060 for Christmas, and that's my limit, lol. I don't think you'll be disappointed. There doesn't seem to be anything from the 60, 50 or 30 series being changed at the moment. Whether they will as a refresh later on in the year, I wouldn't say it's not going to happen, but you never know. Nick Barnes says, thanks Mike, all good now, no buffering here. Good stuff. Dutch Jan says, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 Ti specs therefore exists. Alright, yeah, I get what you mean. Poppy, where are you?
She's under the table next to you. She's talking to Davey.
She's talking to someone. Dutch Jan says the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 Ti is expected to launch early 2024. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened to that. So other things of note, which may or may not be happening, or at least there's been lots of leaks in some directions. So the first one is going to be MSI will potentially be releasing a new handheld gaming console, which will probably be very similar specifications to the Asus ROG, what do they call it? Ally. ROG Ally. And also the, what's the other one? Not LG. Is it LG? No, it's not LG. What is the other one? Lenovo. The Lenovo Legion. So that is going to be similar. Although, it does appear there seems to be a potential that the MSI handheld gaming console potentially might be running on Intel hardware. But that potentially will be coming out this week coming. Information about that is limited, but there was a little bit of a thing with MSI posting an image of it, and Intel posting stuff on there as well. So yeah, not too sure what's going to go on there. Also, Thermaltake are 25 years old. Thermaltake company, 25 years they've been going in the business. And yeah, I think it's going to be somewhat of a celebration for them. There will be some new stuff. So they're going to have some new cases. They're going to have some new power supplies. They're also going to have some new fans and also some new air coolers as well, which is always interesting to see. I think they've pretty much saturated the water cooling market in terms of the AIOs, but they don't do a massive amount of air coolers. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with that. They're also going to be going into more colors as well. So they've hinted that they're going to be looking at more maybe pastel colors in their range. So they've had the matcha range, which some of you may have seen already. So Thermaltake matcha, the Tower 200 I think, and the Tower 300, maybe the 100 as well. And there is a Series 300 and Series 500 that have been done in matcha, along with matching AIO coolers and fans and all kinds of stuff. So you might want to look out for that. So I actually suggested that it'd be nice to see pink, pastel pink. They need some pastel pink AIOs and stuff in their lives. I think we all do.
You just saying that to get me to upgrade.
I just want Kath to have a new computer, to be fair.
I can see it straight away as soon as you said it.
Yeah. Rick H says, I'm warming up to AMD CPUs after trying out my AMD 1600F. Nice CPU coming from an Intel guy. Yeah, I think the 1600AF was a great chip. There's basically a 2600 with a very, very slight cap in the frequency, I think, if I remember rightly. It's a while back. But yeah, 1600AF was a great chip. Still runs really nicely. Very difficult to complain about that. That I think was the golden era of this generation of computing. The 2600, the 1600AF, the B450 platform. Yeah, it was just really good times, and the pricing was always quite nice back then as well, which was pretty decent.
How did Aletta's Hello Kitty go?
Oh yeah, we didn't see that, did we?
Ask her.
Aletta says, I like Thermaltake, but they seriously need to lower their prices on their fans. I think it's the same all round. That I don't quite understand. Well, I do understand it, but I don't really understand it. Apparently, from what Steve at Gamers Nexus said, is that the fan market is possibly the most high volume or high margin stuff. So they make a lot of money on fans. All the manufacturers do, which is why they protect the IP quite a lot. So you'd think there'd be a little bit of leeway in there to make the fans available cheaper to gain the market share. But it seems that Lianli, Thermaltake, numerous other brands which have come up with like their own speciality fans with like swappable blades or interlinking or whatever it might be, they've all basically charged a lot of money. And I guess the fact that people will pay it says a lot. Now, I like the Thermaltake CT range of fans. They're actually very reasonably priced, like 10 quid a fan, which for £10 for a fan, I'm quite happy to pay. It's not the end of the world. If you only need 2 or 3. If you need 10, then it's a big chunk of change. But I think for sort of the £10 mark, you can't go too far wrong with the CT range, personally. But I understand exactly where you're coming from. Viali says, got the doctors early in the morning, so good night and thanks all. I want one of those cases. Thank you for watching. You never know, if you're good next year for Christmas, Santa Claus might get you one. But I wouldn't guarantee it. Rick says, beef 450 boards will be popular for a while, I think, new and used. There's not many B450 boards still in production now, which is a shame. Because there are some still really good lower end AMD CPUs which would go on there, and they're really good, like the 5500, the 4500, those are probably key ones. 4600G I think is still about, the 5600G, 5700G, all run really well on the B450 platform. Aletta says, I need about 15 fans in my new case. Yeah, Aletta's got the Thermaltake CTE 750, I believe,
That you fit back 20
Was it the
men in
750 Air or the 750 Glass? Doesn't really make much difference because the glass is so far away from the fans, it makes no difference whatsoever. Nick Barnes says my CT140s are very quiet and move a lot of air. The CT140s are really good at lower RPMs. As soon as you start getting up to high RPMs, they do get noisy. But they are moving a lot of air, so there's not a great deal you can do about that. Ah, it's the air. Okay. David Underwood says no B450 motherboards in Australia. Haven't seen one for over a year. Yeah, it's going to be a funny old market. I'm trying to think what other things that I would like to see this year at CES, or things which I've heard about or seen mentioned which I'm looking forward to. I think lower RAM costs would be a nice thing for DDR5. I think we got to a point now with DDR5 where, because most of the manufacturers now are tending to opt for the Hynix A die, which seems to be really, really stable and actually overclocks quite well. So I think that's allowed prices to come down a little bit, so you're getting higher frequencies and lower CAS latencies for basically less money than we were this time last year, which is obviously an improvement. I would still like to see it get a little bit better. Storage prices in general seem to be on the up. M.2 drives seem to be definitely increasing. We've had that nice period over kind of November, December, where there's quite a few deals around, but I think it's getting worse. Toe says lower RAM costs probably won't happen due to Japanese earthquakes affecting NAND production. Yeah, I think that was happening before then, so that isn't going to help at all. There's also, what was there? There was something else. Sorry, let me get a drink a moment. There was some other contributing factor, and I cannot think for the life of me what it was. Fortunately, on the flip side, in terms of the GPU or the computer parts tariff, which was going to be added on in America, there was supposed to be a 20% increased tariff starting very soon. Like either it's supposed to be the start of the year or like February or something, but that's been kicked back now until I think it's May or June. So anyone in America who is looking at buying PC parts, that tariff isn't going to happen. So you're not going to see those 20% increases, although I think a lot of places have actually done the increase already. And then we're going to add on probably another 20% when it was public, because it was very few people actually seem to know about it. Bob says that you've got the pirates attacking the import vessels in the Red Sea. That's going to be affecting some stuff for sure. Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on. It's not looking great. Although, having said that, struggling. I think it was last week or the week before, we used a couple of FICWatt drives. And FICWatt is one of those brands which you kind of never heard of before, and apparently they've been around for a really long time, which I've never heard of them, but they've been around in production for like 20 years or so. And they reached out to us and said, would you like to do a video on one of our drives? And it's like, well, I've bought one recently anyway, so yeah, why not? Won't do any harm. And they had a special offer on where you could pick up a 1 terabyte FICWatt FN, actually I've got it here, FN501 Pro drive, and these were actually on sale for, I think it was like £42, plus there was a discount voucher as well. So I think I paid about £35, thereabouts. But the voucher code you can only use for one drive. I tried adding like 5 or 2 or 3 to the basket, and it wasn't having any of it. So yeah, this is a nice little drive. You have got on here a 1 gigabyte cache. So it has got SLC cache, 1 gigabyte of cache on there. So it's actually not a bad drive. It's PCI Express Gen 3 x4 speed, so it's not going to be an absolute speed demon, but realistically, once you get over PCI Express Gen 3 x4 speeds, it's kind of like, would you ever notice it? And for the actual amount of extra money you got to spend to go for PCI Express Gen 4x4 with a cache is kind of pretty prohibitive. So yeah, when they reached out to us and said, would you like to do a review? It was like, yeah, And that turned up today, which was unexpected because I sent them the details and said, yeah, I'd love to do it, and then didn't hear anything back over Christmas.
Got black screen.
Hello? Right, why have I got a blank screen? That's the camera.
The camera's got a picture.
Oh, something's gone wrong. Unplugging. What's going on? Oh, I know what it is. Did the cat sit on the keyboard?
Not that I saw. So I sit in front of it, like the back
Ah.
of it.
Sorry. There we go. I think the cat must have sat on this or that, or one of those keys, I guess, is a hotkey. Sorry about that. You could probably still hear me. Power cut, yeah, I have to put some more money in the kitty. Stuart Lewis says, I got really cheap F-Wit SSD from AliExpress. I think I got ripped off. Mark Berry says, I bought that ThickWatt drive and it was about 40 quid, having no problems so far. Yeah, I've actually, like I said, I bought one anyway, because someone else who we know who does PC reviews online, he actually did a review on it, and there was like a special discount code in the video, and I was like, yeah, okay, why not? Let's give it a go. So I actually used his Amazon link and the referral code, and I got the drive nice and cheap. So yeah, no issues there. Tried it, used it, absolutely fine. No problems at all. So I am quite happy to do product pieces and reviews and what have you for companies that I've never heard of before, because I think everyone deserves a fair shout, and if they can sell a drive for a decent price, then happy days, I'm all in. I would hope that when it comes, well, hopefully when they start emailing, I don't know what they're doing, but if they email, hopefully there's going to be a discount code available. So if you are kind of umming and ahhing, you're on the fence and you want an M.2 drive, such as one like this, then this might be a good shout. Like, it was available for sale for £35. It is a little bit more expensive now. I think they've gone up to like 50, but there's still a 5 or 10% discount, but that's not a great deal. You're looking at what, £2.50 off, £5 off at best, bring it down to about £45. So it's not like mega cheap like they were previously. But saying that, all the other drives have gone up in price. So yeah, it's a nice little drive. Comes with a screwdriver. Got the all the stuff in there. But yes, it seems like a nice drive. NVMe, PCI Express, blah blah blah. Happy days. And I think it comes with a 5-year warranty. I think I remember reading. Oh no, sorry, this particular version, 3-year warranty. But hey, 3 years is better than 1 year. Which there's been quite a few drives on the market with that. And again, for that sort of money, like 35, 40 quid for a drive, I would be happy with a 1-year warranty in all honesty, as long as it's seen out a year. I'd be quite pleased. I should have put that, actually, I was going to put that in this PC, but what I've done is I've actually put a silicon power drive in here, same spec, so I'll be benchmarking actually on here, although I'm kind of regretting that decision now, because getting the M.2 drive out of there is probably not going to be the easiest of things to do. But we will prevail, one way or the other. Andy saying, why not, Mike? What was the why not for? David says 1TB M.2 NVMe only about $84. That's about 48 GBP here in Australia, so similar sort of price to us, I think. So yeah, I think I would like to see definitely some reduced pricing on storage in general. I think that would be a nice thing to see. Definitely like to see some improvement from AMD on terms of pricing. Like to see, now this is something which is really important that I would really like to see, and we probably will get the announcement of on the 7th, the day before CES starts, I think. I'm trying to think when the dates are now. So many things going through my head. But AMD are doing a product announcement 1 hour before NVIDIA's. So yeah, AMD going to be AMD. And they will likely be announcing the 8000 series APUs from AMD, which has been sorely missed from the AM5 lineup. And they always do it. They release a new platform, and then about a year later, or slightly after, they release the new APU platform. The same cycle happened exactly the same when the first of the AM4 boards came out, the first 1000 generation. We didn't get any APUs until the 2200G, the 2400G, when those come out. I think that was about 18 months after. So there was a pretty big gap. It seemed like longer. And they were pretty good. And that is the thing. AMD are supposedly going to have a integrated graphics processor, which appears at the moment from some leaked benchmarks to be somewhere in the region of a, well, anywhere between a 1060 and a 1650 Super. So if they can integrate that actually onto a desktop processor, I think little boxes like this are going to be a lot more common. If they can keep it cool, if they can keep it quiet, and if the drivers work, then I think it's going to be a very cool thing. Hey Dave, you all right? Clearly he is. Yeah, so the 8000 series APUs do look interesting. It will all be revealed next week, so not long to go, probably about 48 hours, and we should know all the answers. That is probably it. There are some new AM4 processors which are going to be coming out, again, like we said, probably the lower binned versions of the X3Ds and the things like the 5800X. So those will be about. We will see some. I don't think there'll be any new technology because I don't think they can do anything with it. The only thing that AM4 could do really is reduce prices. That would be nice. And maybe lower price on motherboards as well. Those are getting quite expensive. Power supplies look like they might be getting a slight refresh as well. There has been some talk of PCI Express Gen 6, but I don't think that is going to be a thing. I'm pretty sure that it's just a refresh of the ATX connector. Or sorry, the PCI Express connector. Dave? No, David. Sorry, he's eating the cables.
He's smelling them.
Cyberclue says, don't forget the RX 7600 XT 16 gig. Yeah, apparently that is going to be a thing as well. I don't know if that is... It looks like they're not going to be releasing that in China because it's too close to the 7700 GRE, is it? So we might get the 7600 XT 16 gig. It'll be interesting to see what price that goes for because the 7600 XT isn't much faster than the 6600 XT. So it doesn't necessarily really need the RAM. It will be useful and it can make use of it. But I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those things like this is a game changer. It's now got 16 gigs of RAM. It's going to ultimately come down to price, I think. And if they can squeeze performance out of it. A620. Aletta says, cats are like babies. They're fun to play with at someone else's house. Then you can leave. And then you can go home. Mike Rockburns. What's that? I'm from the UK. I just don't know what a good deal is for them. Oh, I didn't see the earlier question then. Rick H says, I love my A320 board. Do you know what? I bought an A320 board. There's a PC that I built, which actually, where I work on a Sunday in the shop, they asked me to build a PC because they wanted a new PC to replace the existing kind of lookup center for car parts and stuff. And I did an A320 then. It's an A320 with, I think it's a 2200G. It might be a 3200G, but I think it's a 2200G. 16 gigs of RAM. It's got a EVGA BT450 power supply in it. And a GameMax, can't think which GameMax case it is. It's one of the older GameMax cases. But that thing's been like basically bomb-proof. There was a little bit of a hiccup. about a year in when AMD drivers just went nuts. But yeah, it's been great, and it's been there for what, 4 or 5 years now, and yeah, it's been great. And that was an A320 chipset, and it basically gets abused. It gets left on pretty much 24/7. There's dirt, oil, crap, you name it, all gets sucked into that front filter, and they don't do any cleaning on it. Every now and then, probably once a year, I'll vacuum it out. But yeah, it's been really good. Basically bomb-proof. Oh, I think I have actually... Did I replace a drive? No, there was a hard disk drive in there that failed. So that was the original one that I transferred from their PC, I think. Letter says my 6900 XT has 16 gigs of RAM. It rarely uses half of it. I have been noticing, well, more recently I've been running things like the AMD overlay or the Intel overlay to actually keep an eye on GPU usage and RAM usage. And it is definitely creeping up for me. But then I am playing games at stupid resolutions that you really probably shouldn't. Especially on the hardware that I've got. Stuart says, AI tech will be prevalent at CES. Fridges will scan you and won't open if you are overeating or posting controversial stuff online. Yeah, that is something which I am not looking forward to, if I'm completely honest with you. The whole AI stuff in processors is, again, is a buzzword. And everybody's jumping on the same thing. I can see the appeal. But it is basically a big marketing thing at the moment. Like home automation was when that came out, it was like, oh, you've got to have home automation, and it basically still sucks. And I think AI has been that cash cow, and will continue being a cash cow for the foreseeable.
NVMe's Mike said.
Oh, what?
Not knowing the prices in the UK.
Right, yeah. NVMe prices in the UK are not great at the moment. Especially after we've just had Black Friday, Christmas sales, all that kind of stuff. Prices have gone up considerably. If you want some decent pricing or some offers, in our Discord we have a bargains no chat room where we post bargains and no chat. Links will be in the chat. We'll do that for you now. There you go. And yeah, you can check out what is posted on there. I would say the FitQuat drive, if you do a search for that on Amazon, FN501 Pro, there's a very strong chance if you look at that now, if you're in the UK, amazon.co.uk, that there will be a discount voucher available. I'm not too sure exactly how much it will be. And in fact, I could have a very quick look now. Incognito. Amazon UK. Oh, for fuck's sake. Make sure you're not a robot. Type the characters you see in this image. Well, with my eyes, it could be anything. Looks like caca. Tell you what, if I actually use the right keyboard as well, that'd be bloody handy. Or I did. Or maybe if I turn the keyboard on, that'd be even handier.
It won't beep at all.
No, it must have been the Stream Deck having a mind of its own. Right, FitQuat. FitQuat is such a stupid name. But if it's cheap, who cares? Right, FitQuat, 1 terabyte. Right, doesn't appear to be any special offers on at the moment that I can see. What we got? 56. What size is that? Right, actually the FitQuat FN 960, 1 terabyte, is at £56 at the moment. That's got dynamic SLC cache. So that's kind of okay for 56 quid. The FN501 Pro, £50. That's got proper SLC 3D NAND flash technology going on. And a graphene cooling sticker. Just what everybody wants. And what else have we got? The FN950. No, that's not available at the moment. So yeah, limited pickings at the moment when it comes to NVMe drives, unfortunately. But yeah, I think recently FM501 Pro, 50 quid. It's not amazing, but it's not the worst. You could probably look as well. You could probably look as well for probably good ones to look at. Maybe the Kingston NV2. Those used to be quite cheap. There's also silicon power drives. Those are always worth checking out. I'm trying to think of the model numbers. The model numbers escape me at the moment. Other ones, the Crucial P3 or the P3 Plus. P3 Plus would be preferable if it's for a system drive, but either one would be fine. Christopher Ackerman, how you doing, Christopher? Says, I've spent all day trying to fix my GPU at 100% usage, then game freezes for 4 seconds, so I gave up and now have a Guinness. Don't blame you. If your GPU's at 100%, that's not entirely unusual. Your GPU should be at like 99 to 100% usage. That's kind of what it's designed to do. Hi Nero, says hey Calf. Hello Mike. No worries. Aletta says, not sure how I feel about AI in general, but ChatGPT has become my favourite search engine. Ah, that's an interesting one. I've not thought of using that. Nero says, oh no, I've missed the stream, I got here late. Yes, it is. It's almost time to wrap up, actually. Toad says, is that a cat purring? Yes.
I think it was Poppy ripping the box to shreds.
Poppy's doing something. David Underwood says 103 Aussie dollars for that drive in Australia, Amazon, but delivered from the USA. There you go. Mike says, I just want one for OS and one for games. Crucial were the ones I was scoping out. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, the crucial ones, I would say get the P3 Plus or the P5 Plus. P3 Plus is fine. Use that for your operating system. The cache is going to be useful for it. You can go with the standard P3 as well. I think I've got the 2 terabyte one up there, which I've been meaning to put in as a game drive myself. David says, Kingston NV2 is what I'm taking out of my PC and replacing with silicon power. Cool. Rick H says, I picked up a Western Digital Green 1 terabyte, 53 US on Amazon. That seems pretty good. I had a big issue with a Western Digital Green drive. I think it was the 128 gig version, the NVMe, or is it? No, it might have been a SATA one when they first came out. And it was horrendous. There was something wrong with the firmware, and it basically always was in sleep mode or low power mode. So I think I've got to try and think now. I'm pretty sure when I did the benchmarks on it, it was getting me like 100 megabytes per second transfers, which was essentially slower than a hard drive. So I don't know what happened to that. It was weird. Toad says, Mike, do you foresee any 7900 XT or XTX price cuts post CES? I would almost guarantee, going out on a limb here, if they don't happen tomorrow, they'll happen Tuesday. No, hang on. Yeah, if they don't happen on Monday, they'll happen on Tuesday. Almost guarantee it. As soon as the announcements are done from AMD and NVIDIA, as soon as that's done on the 7th, which I think is... No, it can't be the 7th because it's the 6th today, isn't it? So it must be the 8th that they're doing the announcement. So when does CX start then? On the 9th? I'm really confused. Anyway, it's going to be... As soon as those 2 announcements are done, if they don't do the announcement and actually AMD come out and say something like, due to the popularity of this graphics card and economies of scale, and we've perfected our manufacturing, so now we're going to sell our 7900 XTX for $100 less. They might just do that, just to pip NVIDIA. Because they obviously know what's going on. Because I'm pretty sure that this is a fact, that Lisa Su and NVIDIA man, can't think of his name. They're actually related. They are actually related in real life. So
How else would they be related?
it's yeah. There's a strong chance that people that work with them or themselves, like you can imagine it at Christmas dinner, having a right old laugh between them, saying, "Oh, this is what we're doing. Yeah, we're going to do that as well," and then going down. I've just heard they're going to do this. We better do that. It probably doesn't happen, but I like to think it does. Jensen Huang, that's it. Thank you. They are distant cousins. Apart from when at Christmas, when they're having a Christmas meal together. They can't decide whether to have red crackers or green crackers. Yeah, I think next week is going to be exciting times. I think for a lot of people, there's going to be a lot that when the original 4000 series came out, and they were quite excited to see what benefits it had in terms of the ray tracing performance. And I think for a lot of us, especially in Europe and also the UK, and basically any country where it costs money for electricity, the actual savings on the power bill. Because at the moment, AMD are, if you think the 7900 XTX is basically a 4080 competitor, or 4090 in some respects, but they're managing to do it with using basically double the power, which is kind of terrifying that they have to use that much energy to reach or come close to reaching what NVIDIA are doing on a much, much lower power budget. That, for a lot of people, is a big thing. And economy, how hot or how much power your GPU is using, I think for a considerable amount of the actual buying public, is a serious consideration. I think it definitely is. For me personally, when I'm looking at graphics cards now and I'm watching my system, seeing how much I'm using while I'm gaming or doing a video editing project, it's one of those things in the back of my mind that even though, yes, electricity is still quite expensive, it's not horrendously expensive, it could be worse, it could be a considerable amount better. So it is something like, if my GPU is using 200 watts, but it could be using 100, that's a decent saving over a couple of days or a couple of months or a couple of years even. So I think that for the American market, obviously they don't really give a toss how much energy they're using. And I'm sure there's going to be other countries in the world where their energy bills are so low, it's kind of like, whatever, 1000 watts, doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, for people over in Ireland, for people in the UK, I'm pretty sure for people in Germany, and most of the European countries, I think, are paying ridiculous amounts for their energy. I'm pretty sure that Germany have just shut down like all of their fossil fuel plants and what have you, so they're pretty much all like solar, wind or nuclear, and that can't be cheap. So yeah, I don't know. Old Man Withers says power efficiency is why I went for a 4500 and a 4060. Good on you. Dutch Jan says on Hardware Unboxed, Radeon RX 7800 XTX versus GeForce 4090, GeForce Premium worth it. I think for the 4090 it's going to be a stretch, because it is a big stretch now. The 4090 is incredibly expensive for what it is. Now that's going to be a thing. My biggest thing is now the 4080 Super versus the 4090. How big is the gap? From what they've estimated due to the CUDA cores, etc, 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 it looks like it might only be about 20 to 30% faster. Whereas if the 4090 Super is $1,000 and the 4090 is like 1600 to 2000, there's no way on this earth that you're going to pay that much extra money for 20 or 30% performance. It just makes no sense at all. So it'd be interesting to see if they do anything with the 4090 as well. I can't see it, but you never know. William Bodie says they did shut down their power plant, the best in Europe. It's nuts, isn't it? Dutch Jan says nuclear energy has been turned off in Germany. Okay. So where do you get your electricity from? It's a pretty bloody big country. David Underhill says, if 200 watts is affecting your household budget, sell the PC and buy a chessboard. I think you're, yeah. I wasn't being like that dramatic about it, but it certainly is a thing. Like, especially for me, if I'm benchmarking,
our electric and gas is more than our mortgage used to be.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if you heard that, but yeah, our gas and electricity bill is actually more than our mortgage used to be, which is nuts. But it is what it is.
But then so's our council tax.
So says that the power saving, unless you're gaming 24/7, the difference is negligible, to be honest with you. E.g. 350 watt versus 210. Yeah, there is that. It's I think I look at the idle wattage as well quite a lot. Now, it does appear that the idle wattage of the new supercards has been tweaked. So we're looking at somewhere between 11 watts idle and maybe 16 watts, I think, which is low. Whereas NVIDIA ones at the moment, most NVIDIA cards, I think, around, well, some can get down to that, but they're normally kind of 25, 30 watts. It depends on the card, obviously. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. I think I'm going to wrap this up now, because I just want to wait. I want to fast forward. I've got to work in the shop tomorrow. I don't want to. I want to fast forward and get to Tuesday or Monday or whenever the announcements are. Potentially, I don't know. I might consider doing a live stream during it, or possibly something after, to kind of reflect on people's feelings on it. I'm not too sure. We'll see how things go. We'll probably try and get... yeah.
And we've got a live stream.
Well, you've got Lisa Sue for an hour,
and
then after that you've got NVIDIA. So maybe we'll do a stream. We'll see what the time factors are like and see if we can start a stream just before the AMD one, and then we'll carry on through to the NVIDIA one and have a little bit of a laugh and see what's going on.
I like Ugly Bob in them.
Yeah, Bob gets excited when Lisa Sue comes on.
With her red shoes.
Anyway, I should say as well, again, massive shout out to Patrick Lebel for taking the time, effort and the expense of shipping this over to us, this 3D printer case, which has been absolutely phenomenal, I've got to say. I will be tweaking and playing around with this, and I will try and do a full dedicated video on it. I'm not too sure whether I'm probably the best person to do the full dedicated video on it, but I may well do. If I play with it a bit more and I learn a few tips or tricks, which I feel will be beneficial to others, then we may well do that. But it might just end up being a review video rather than a build video because of the complexity of it. But we'll see what happens. And again, massive shout out. Very much appreciate all this. It's very cool stuff. And again, if you do want to possibly do one of these cases for yourself, print one out, customize it, do whatever you want to, you can head over to the link in the video description, see what you think, make some modifications. I think there's 3 or 4 different versions of this. So this is the Boy S. I think there's a Boy M and a Boy L or XL. So varying different sizes. So there's going to be something for everybody. And yeah, it's good fun, I think, personally. Interesting thing to do. And again, if you've got a 3D printer that is capable of printing out panels this big, because not all of them will do. But yeah, for less than a kilo's worth of filament and probably a day's worth of printing, it's pretty good. Little Boy S. That's the one. Thank you, Dutch John. Saved my life. Excellent stuff. So, thank you all very much. Hopefully you've enjoyed this evening's stream. If you have, smash the like button. Always helps. If you're new here and you want to see more like this, God help you. But click on the subscribe button and the chime notification. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. And hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all the super chats, your kindness, your contributions and your comments. And we will see you again on Monday morning. and possibly we'll see you in the stream next Saturday with maybe a recap on what the hell has just happened at CES. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. Anyway, night all, and sleep well. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.